Gregor has just returned from the Ox University. He has shut himself inside his room and will not come out under any circumstance. His mother and his father have given up all hope in him and can barely stand to look at him. His sister, Greet, still believes in him and still hopes he has life within him.
Gregor, it's 6:45. Haven't you a train to catch?
Another sad attempt by the lazy Gregor to communicate.
Yes, Mother, yes. Thank you. I'm getting up now.
Thankfully, Gregor's change of voice wasn't noticed through the wooden door, but what was noticed was his lack of heading to work.
Gregor!
Gregor, open the door, I beg of you.
Gregor was definitely not planning on opening the door after his transformation. He was completely shocked and couldn't move.
He could be seriously ill. Gregor, are you well? Do you need anything?
You have to go for the doctor right away. Gregor is ill. Quick, get the doctor. Did you hear the way Gregor spoke just now? That was the voice of an animal.
Gregor's father was not very pleased over Gregor sleeping in. In fact, he was furious.
Get a locksmith now.
Gregor completely struggled with trying to get out of bed and reached for the door. He then passed out until later that night. Our poor lonely Gregor has trapped himself under the couch. He's ashamed of what he's become. He has not eaten in days. Gregor lies motionless most of the day, uncomfortable and with no will to move or live.
Am I less sensitive than I used to be then?
He's enjoyed his dinner today.
Gregor very much enjoyed these trash-like scraps. This little routine continued every day for a good while. Greet would bring different foods to test Gregor's taste. Half-eaten Twinkies here, a few moldy Doritos there, plain pepperoni, dog food, banana peels, basically anything. Gregor's mouth had become a vacuum, and Greet would feed him anything.
Now everything's just been left there.
What's that he's doing now?
Gregor spent much of his day doing absolutely nothing. He lay perfectly still often, just thinking. Sometimes he would do other mundane activities, such as listen to conversations through the door or sitting on the windowsill. No matter what he did, life was quite boring. Great Scott! Greet has just seen Gregor for the first time in weeks! What a disgusting sight. Visits were few and far between from then on. The love between Gregor and Greet was truly tested now that Greet has seen his true form. The level of compassion between the two has dipped greatly. Gregor's attitude has truly suffered from his sister's lack of attention.
Boy, am I sad.
Gregor's boss, for whom he worked for before he left for college, comes over for breakfast because he hears about Gregor's problems. Gregor is finally feeling better about his situation and tries to communicate with his mother, but no one understands Gregor, not even his mother. Gregor gets frustrated and angry because he feels alone and isn't able to communicate.
For pity's sake!
Mother!
The following night, the roommates are eating in the dining room while the family is eating in the kitchen. Greet starts playing the violin and the roommates invite the family into the parlor. Hearing the violin, Gregor is intrigued and creeps closer to the music in the parlor. Suddenly, one of the roommates spots Gregor and quickly cries out in serious confusion.
Mr. Samson!
The middle lodger smiled to his friends with confusion and continued to look at Gregor. The father tried quickly to soothe the roommates, but they seemed more interested in Gregor rather than the violin playing by Greet. The father tried to get the roommates to go back into their rooms and block them from the view of Gregor. The roommates started to become angered and started to demand questions of why Gregor was living next door. The lodgers then threatened to leave if Gregor is not dealt with. Gregor's family cannot afford for the lodgers to leave because the lodgers were a big source of income for them.
I bet to announce that because of the disgusting conditions prevailing in this household and family, I give you notice on the spot. Naturally, I won't give you a penny for the days I have lived here. On the contrary, I shall consider bringing an action for damages against you, based on claims, believe me, that will be easily susceptible of proof.
Now that the roommates are gone, the family must discuss what to do about Gregor. They can no longer support him, and don't even have a reason for keeping him in their house anymore. The family has a conversation about Gregor. However, Gregor can hear what is going on for the whole entire time.
My dear parents, things can't go on like this. Perhaps you didn't realize it, but I do. I won't utter my brother's name in presence of this creature, and so all I say is, we must try and get rid of it. We've tried to look after it and put up with it as far as humanly possible, and I don't think anyone is going to reproach us in the slightest.
She is more than right.
We must try to get rid of it. It will be the death of both of you. I can see that coming. When one has to work as hard as they do, all of us, one can't stand this continual torment at home on top of it. At least I can't stand it any longer.
My dear, but what can we do? If he understands us, then perhaps we might come to some agreement with him. But as it is,
He must go. That's the only solution, Father. You must try to get rid of it. The idea that this is Gregor, the fact that we've believed it for so long, is the root of all our trouble. But how can it be Gregor? If this were Gregor, he would have realized long ago that human beings can't live with such a creature, and he'd have gone away on his own accord. Then we wouldn't have any brother, but be able to go on living and keep his memory in honor. As it is, this animal is persecuting us. It's driven out our tenants. It's obviously wants to take over the whole flat and force us to sleep on the streets. Father, look. Just look. Ah, he's starting again.
Maybe now they'll turn me around.
At last.
What now then?
Gregor had been feeling a terrible pain for a long time, and he couldn't take it any longer. He had heard his family discuss him, questioning him if he really was Gregor. Gregor felt his agony due to the lack of family's compassion, along with the burden they had placed on him, combined with the sadness and heartbreak. Gregor began to feel comfortable, as the pain started to become weaker and weaker until it didn't exist, and he had died alone in the dark.
Come and have a look at this. It's dead, lying there, just stone dead.
Dead?
That's what I said.
Well, thank God for that.